Welcome back to the History of Science. Today we follow a scientist who did something almost no one in his field had ever attempted. He put down his quill, stepped away from the observatory, and took command of a Royal Naval vessel. This is the story of Edmond Halley's voyage aboard the Paramore, and how an astronomer became a sea captain in pursuit of planetary truth. Most of us think of Edmond Halley as a quiet astronomer behind the famous comet that bears his name. But in the 1690s, Halley did something truly extraordinary. He went to sea, not as a passenger, not as a gentleman observer, but as the captain of a purpose-built research vessel. His mission was to chart the Earth's magnetic field, to improve navigation, and to solve a deep scientific puzzle. Did magnetic variation change in predictable ways across the globe? This wasn't academic curiosity alone. England's maritime power depended on navigation, and the navigation depended on magnetism. Mariners had long used compasses, but no one had a clear understanding of why the needle varied from the true north, or by how much, or whether these variations drifted over time. Bad data could cost ships their bearing and their lives. Halley saw the problem as solvable, but only if someone gathered measurements across the Atlantic. So in 1698, at age 42, the scientist volunteered to go. The Royal Navy agreed, with some hesitation, and provided Halley with a small 52-foot vessel, the Paramore. He was given the rank of captain, a crew, and orders that made other naval officers bristle. Halley was to command the voyage solely for the sake of science. Many officers resented a civilian scholar being placed over professional sailors, and Halley would soon learn just how deep that resentment ran. The first voyage began in November 1698. The plan was simple: sail south along the Atlantic, take magnetic measurements, record winds and currents, and chart anything unusual. The reality was far less orderly. Early in the voyage, Halley clashed with his lieutenant, Edward Harrison, who openly challenged Halley's authority. The quarrel grew so heated that Halley had to return to England to have Harrison court-martialed. It was an embarrassing setback, but the Admiralty sided with Halley, a rare victory for a civilian in naval uniform. Unfazed, Halley set out again in September 1699. The second voyage was the true scientific expedition. The Paramore crossed the equator, entered the South Atlantic, and carefully measured magnetic inclination, the angle at which the compass needle tilts into the Earth. Halley kept meticulous logs, recording not only magnetism, but weather patterns, trade winds, ocean currents, and changing color and temperature of the water. By modern standards, this was the first systematic geophysical survey conducted by a single research vessel. In January 1700, the Paramore reached the latitude of modern-day Brazil, where Halley encountered an unexpected magnetic anomaly. Compasses readings behaved strangely, fluctuating in ways that didn't match European charts. Today we know this region as the South Atlantic Anomaly, an area where Earth's magnetic field is weak, a phenomenon Halley detected centuries before it had a name. When Halley returned to England in September 1700, he delivered the first complete chart of magnetic declination across the Atlantic. The chart was revolutionary. Instead of depicting coastlines or islands, he showed lines of equal magnetic variation, we now call isogonic lines. Nothing like it had ever been attempted. For the first time, the navigators could compare their compass readings against a scientifically grounded map of magnetic behavior. Though some critics dismissed the work as overly ambitious, Halley had opened an entire new domain of earth science. His voyage demonstrated that magnetism could be charted, predicted, and understood as part of a dynamic global system. It was a triumph of theory meeting observation, and it required him to leave the study and take to the sea. Perhaps the most remarkable part of the story is that Halley never saw himself as a heroic adventurer. To him, a compass needle behaving strangely was just as worthy a study as a comet swinging through the heavens. If the data required a sea voyage, then so be it. He would captain a ship. Science, after all, demanded action. You've been listening to The History of Science. If you'd like to explore Edmond Halley's world in greater depth, my book on Halley is available on Amazon. I've included a book cover and a QR code so you can find it quickly. Thanks for listening, and keep asking good questions.